Hey guys, Kambii here and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be talking about the auction house, mainly because when I first started using the auction house, I really wish that there was like a guide that I could use, but because I started using it when they first released it, obviously there was not any guide. I'm pretty sure by now there is already a guide or a video talking about the auction house, but I thought I would make my version of it as well. So without further ado, here is my video on the auction house. Also, do not mind my male looking character. I'm wearing mostly Allude items because I have been getting extremely tired of wearing my female items, and thank God they invented Allude items because I would not want to pay to rebirth into a guy. But anyway, so this button over here is the auction house button. It literally looks just like a scale. When you open it up, it appears to be just like a normal search bar box. And so basically what it is that over here is your auction house tab. The categories will be different types of items, so melee, range, magic weapon, etc. As you can see, if you double click it, it will give you smaller tabs of them. So basically if you wanted like a specific one-handed sword from the melee weapons, that could work. Most of the time I just go on to clothing because I always buy clothing. So I'll be using that as an example. If you were to double click that, so sometimes it will do this. There's some like tiny glitches here and there in auction houses. But anyway, once you double click it, it will take you to a page. It orders it by time, or I'm assuming when something was placed into the auction house. So these are the most recent items that people have listed, and it tells you the sale type, which is regular or bid. A regular would be a normal sale item. So what's nice is that the auction house isn't specifically focused on bidding. You can also use it for normal sales, such as just like a marketplace per se. So regular is just they're selling it, as in you can just buy it for this price. And then a bid would be you can like bid off the item. So there was that. So for the items, if you were to double click them, you can preview it. This is males, but I have to go to a female one. So you can preview it, and let's say the item was reforged, you can actually mouse over it to see that they are reforged or what stats they have. You can preview it to show it on your character, which is pretty nice. And then you could also organize it by the name. You can organize it by the price if you want cheaper items. And you can go like this, and it'll give you the more expensive items. And so I usually go down the list to see what items I would prefer. Usually I go by most expensive because most of the items I buy are usually of a higher price range. You can also see that this is the auction one. So if you were to double click it, it will take you to this bid window. So current bid is 35 million. So you can tell that this item has no bids, meaning that this person had placed a minimum bid of 35 million. So you can, if you were to create an item, you can put a minimum bid so people don't actually lowball you. And there's also the thing where if you were to top the bid, it automatically increases it by a little. So it's ideal to actually put a min bid. You could also preview, as you can see. And then you could do a buyout, which if someone provides a buyout, then you can actually buy it for that amount. So let's say this, for example, this person placed a 35 million bid, which is their min, apparently, if you double click that. And then the buyout would be if you wanted to just purchase it without going through the bid, which is a nice feature. That's what I do like about the auction feature. So there's that. And the way the search bar would work is that if you were to type in something, it would slowly appear in a box. So I'm going to say, for example, Mystic. It will give you a drop down. And in this case, it's showing me only outfits because I'm in the clothing tab. Now, if I reset my search, it will take me all the way back to the beginning. And then it will take me towards the total. So if you now write Mystic, it will display every single item with the word Mystic in it, which is pretty nice. I think that's a cool feature. Now, on to the next portion, which would be the listing portions, which is in your My Auctions tab. So in the My Auctions tab, it'll show you all the items you have listed for sale currently. So for example, I have one item that has ended its time frame and it has not been sold, so it's just sitting here. I have a couple of items listed, and I have one item that has been sold. And so The way this usually works is that if you were to list something, I'm sorry for the clutter mess. I know it's like a terrible mess in here. You have to place something in here. This is how you list something. Basically, I could say like, oh, what's nice is that it gives you the average price. For example, how much it has been selling for, the lowest price, which will be what is currently in the auction house. For example, this item's not in the auction house, so it won't show me a lowest. Let me see if I can find an item with that's inside the auction house. So for example, this is giving you the average of 25 million. The current lowest price for this particular item in the auction at the moment is 34 million. And so because of that, you can base it off of that. You don't actually have to physically Google it or search it. So I'm just going to use this for example. And then so you can put your price, duration goes to a max of 36 hours, and then you can list it. Be aware that there's a transaction fee of 5% when the item gets sold. So that's why most people don't really like to use the auction house, but it is most convenient because if you log out, it will literally just list there. The auction listing will be start bid. Start bid, you can say blah, blah, blah. Buyout will be blah, 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 blah. And then duration will always be the max of 36. And so now in this case, I sold an item. So once your item sells, there would be a little icon thing that shows that something sold. It's like a red update circle, I guess, but sometimes it doesn't show. In this case, this didn't actually show for me, so I'm pretty thoroughly surprised. So if something sells, it will appear in your My Auction. You'll just double click it, and then you'll collect. And it will deduct the 5%. So obviously the sales fee, and then my total's this, it goes instantly into my bank account. So as you can tell, if something's not sold, you can just double click it, retrieve it, and it will appear back into my inventory. So I guess the next thing would be, how would people use this? What are the pros and cons about it? Well, for instance, I'm going to write them here just to make it easier. So one of the pros would be offline selling. So, you know how I used to sell things through Personal Shop, and without premium, you can't use the ad board for your housing. So what's nice is that you can offline sell, meaning that if you were to list something, you can keep it up there even if you were offline. Price checking, actually. So as you already saw through the other feature that I showed, I'm just gonna go back in there and just to use it as like a example. If you were to double click it, it tells you the average price. You could search up an item. It will tell you the average price, so that if someone was offering it for your item, you could technically get a price check through this. It isn't always 100% accurate with its price checking, but it is a good base to what you're looking for if you were looking for a price check, so that's pretty nice. You can also buy items for cheaper, which is nice. I guess you won't be easily gypped off anymore. In the past, you don't really have anything to go off of, so I guess price safety, meaning you'll have more of a boundary or a price range of an item, and so you won't easily give in to paying so much. Because in the past, people can advertise an item for a very high auto win, but in the end, it probably didn't cost that much. In this case scenario, it's probably going to be in the auction house, and then you can just buy it for cheaper there. Saves time from advertising. So you know those times where you're always advertising for pages, for skills, or for dyes, or for something in particular, and it's annoying because you have to stay on and advertise it until someone says they have it? Now, with the auction house, you can actually search for it, and I guess you could do that with the housing board, but with the auction house, you don't need to change channel, meaning that if you had like a party up that you don't want to get rid of, or if you had something that required you to stay on the same channel, you don't have to change channel just to get to it. It's convenient, meaning that it's just a click of a button. It's right there. You can search anytime you want, wherever you want. You could be in Homestead, you could be in a dungeon, anytime you can check this. So there is a lot of pros. I guess you have to say, I guess the cons, we'll go into the cons. Cons is the 5% fee. That's a lot of a fee, actually. That's why I tried to sell my expensive items via checks, because that is actually a high fee for a higher priced item. So that's a little annoying. 36-hour min, max. So that can get a little annoying. I personally would wish that they had a higher time frame, because 35 hours is, no, it's 36, because 36 hours is not a lot. Trust me, it literally goes by in a snap. I think they should increase it by a lot, actually. I think it would help much more. I would have to say, price checks aren't 100% accurate. Meaning that, for example, in the past they had a blinding radiant frost blossom wings up for an average price of I think like 40 mil, which is completely off. That person just didn't know the price and they put it on. Because of that, people are going off of it, and yeah, they're not always 100% accurate. So don't always go off of those prices. Still get someone to price check it for you. It's just good to have a general idea of it. So there was that. I think there's also a way you can like preview. Oh yeah, you can also put details of the average price. That's nice. Literally, you can see how sales have been going. I'm gonna try to do it on an item that probably has sold. Yeah, so it can tell you like what had happened before and how many transactions there had been, just so that you can like view list, trade volume, one case, two case. So it tells you the average price, which is nice. It gives you a history and when it was, which I do like. Yeah, so 5%, 36 hours, price checks. I also think it's, I guess, it's actually not that bad. I can only think of three things, and that are these three: the high tax, then max not being too high, and price checks not being extremely accurate. Other than that, I love the auction house, but I do admit all the items that I used to sell for higher sell for much lower in the auction house, and that's actually because people in the past were too lazy to advertise their items, while for me, I actually enjoyed it. So now that they have the auction house, they can just simply put it in, and because of that, it's a lot harder for us merchants to get money, which I guess is a pro for many other people and a con for me, which I really don't mind. I mean, I'm not as active on Mabi anymore, so I'm not too specific on that. Oh, I also think this is pretty neat. I wish I can like test it with something so I can show you how this works. Let me see if I can find an item with an actual enchant on it. Okay. Oh, was there an enchant on that one? No, I can't find an item with an enchant because I really want to show you guys how the prefix and suffix stuff works. And it's a little hard if I can't find an item with an enchant on it. Oh, okay, Swan Summoners. I think that's a... Oh, you also have to use... It's case sensitive. You always have to be case sensitive to everything. I think that's the frill swimsuit. And it will show you it by enchant. Let me see if you can do it without swan. Oh my god, that's amazing. You can actually go by the prefix as well, but the only con is that you can't do on total. You can do it by like certain item only. But I think that's pretty neat. So you can put your prefix and suffix of an enchant as well. So that's pretty nice. Well, that's all I have for the auction house stuff. If any of you guys have any questions, feel free to note me up. My in-game name is Kambii on Alexina, Mabinogi. And yeah, also I should probably change out of this outfit. I feel like such a trap in this. I'm sorry, I was like obsessed with this like look for a bit. Especially because I've been so bored with wearing female clothes. Look how messy my inventory is. My goodness. Gonna probably put this on. Hey, now I'm a female again. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, you guys, and I will have a video up soon. I know it's been like 2 years since I posted something on YouTube, so I'll try to be a little more active. All right, see you guys.